What the fuck? What the actual fuck was that? I recently just finished watching 28 Years Later. I won't make this video very long. I just want to give my initial thoughts on it. I made a video on TikTok. Kind of blew up, not really. But yeah, 28 Years Later. If you're like me, this is probably one of your most anticipated films of the year. You've either waited for this movie since you were like a teenager, or you recently watched the series and you're like, okay, I'm curious to see how they're going to take the direction of this film. And I gotta say, it's not exactly what I was expecting. Full spoilers, by the way. A lot of people have said the first half of the film is fantastic and the second half kind of falls apart. I do agree with it. I want to say I kind of have a love-hate relationship with this film after sitting on it. I liked it. I didn't love it, but I didn't absolutely hate it. I liked the film. I think it was very interesting. I think it's gonna either turn off a lot of people or it's either gonna get them very, very invested. It's directed by what was it, Donnie Boyle, and written by Alex Garland, who's most notably for Warfare and some other film. I kind of forgot the other film, but I think it's very, very telling, setting this sequel 28 years later compared to 28 months later. It's often stated that this movie ignores what happened in 28 weeks later, where Paris gets infected and whatnot, but pretty much the beginning of the film tells you, yeah, the virus was quarantined in Europe, it was driven out of the mainland, and it's now settled to the UK. The UK is pretty much uninhabited. The rage virus solely exists on this island nation, and no one can come in or out, because if you do, you're pretty much gunned down and executed, which is pretty interesting. The story follows a father and the son, aka Spike, as they venture out to the mainland, aka UK, the mainland England, and they perform this rite of passage every young boy has to become a man of sorts. They hunt down infected. If they survive, they return to their little offshore colony. And to me, I really like that dynamic. I like the first 45, how it kind of shows the world. It gives you perspective of, yeah, pretty much the rest of the world has turned their back on England. There is no way of surviving this apocalypse unless you're one of the lucky survivors out there. But if you're in the England continent or the England mainland, there's weird people out there. There's still the infected. The infected have evolved, so we have these weird creatures. We're also introduced to the alphas. The alphas are kind of like superhuman infected rage virus, which to me I find to be the most interesting thing about this, because the alphas are much larger, they're much stronger, and they have some form of intelligence. In the movie, it's shown that one of the alphas gets mad when his mate is killed and the baby is taken, which shows the alphas have some way of thinking, which kind of doesn't make sense to me, because I thought the rage virus pretty much quells or suppresses any type of emotion and fills it with pure rage. So to me, introducing the fact that alphas are kind of intelligent and they're still able to retain some type of emotional intelligence while containing their rage is very, very telling. I am curious to see how they're gonna use these alphas later on in the stories, as well as the doctor from the Bone Temple. I think that was pretty fascinating. To me, that was probably the creepiest part of the film, where he creates this bone temple to honor the dead. What was it he said in the film? Memento Mentorium, honor the dead, or something like that. To me, I found him to be one of the more interesting characters. Yeah, he was a bit underutilized in my honest opinion, because he could have had a larger impact. I really would have loved to see his reaction coming back to the little offshore colony to see how he interacted with people. But no, Spike going to see him was very, very interesting. Now, do I like the direction Spike went, where he pretty much left the offshore colony? I don't know. I kind of have a love-hate relationship. I do get it, how the film shows us, the first half of the film shows us a coming-of-age type of story with him venturing out, and I think it makes sense for him to venture out in the second half of the film. But leaving his father behind, how he felt more of a supportive character in the second half of the film, kind of felt dumb to me. It would have been more interesting to see the father chase after the son and maybe die along the way or something like that. But the fact that the father is pretty much left behind on the offshore colony, his wife is pretty much gone, the alphas are kind of there, is very, very interesting, to be honest. I do like how the infection has changed, has evolved. To me, that's probably one of the more interesting aspects, but they didn't really focus too much on the infection in the second half. It just kind of felt like I said, more of a coming of age story, which I didn't mind. The ending where it turns into a Power Rangers sequence was kind of goofy, but I've seen some people say that the Jimmy, or whoever's name is, the cult leader from the beginning, who was a boy from the beginning of the film, has a darker element. Apparently he's based off some serial killer from actual England history, which is pretty interesting. I'm curious to see where they're gonna take his character, as well as his weird Power Ranger-esque gang. It's gonna be very interesting, very telling. But other than that, I liked the film. It wasn't terrible. I think it's gonna subvert a lot of people's expectations to what they find. People were expecting something a little bit different. People were expecting something more chaotic, but I'm very invested to see how things are going to happen in the sequel. Could they have been a little bit better? Yes. In my honest opinion, it felt like they were setting up too much too very fast. Like, I kind of wanted a proper story, which the beginning felt like, and then the second half it just kind of left you, oh hey, we're gonna introduce this in the second movie, or we're gonna introduce this into a third movie, yada yada. Like, it felt like they were setting up way too much without focusing on the actual story. Like, the first half of the film was really amazing. The second half to me kind of just fumbled a little bit. That's why I kind of give it a 7 out of 10, and my honest reaction to this film is, what the actual fuck? Because like I'm saying, so much could have been done properly in this film, but instead it kind of felt very vague. I've seen people online interact with me saying, oh, maybe you should research it was going to be part of a trilogy, but that's not how movies work. If you're going to make a movie, make sure you get the audience invested, answer some of the questions, and leave things and give hints. Don't straight up just leave it purely vague as to what's going to happen in the following films. That's really my main issue with this film, that it just feels like they were just setting up way too much and not answering anything in the film. Like, oh, who was his doctor? Oh, I don't know, I'm doing something. Oh, who are the alphas? Oh yeah, I'm doing something. What happened with the alien? Oh no, I'm doing something. How is this baby not infected? Oh, I don't know. Like, you get me? It just felt like very vague explanations. But that's just me. I don't know if anyone else feels that way as well about the film, but let me know down in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Do you agree with my rating? I liked it. I didn't absolutely hate it. I didn't absolutely love it, but yeah, that's just my thoughts on the film. Anyways, you guys seen it? What are your reactions, and are you excited for the potential sequel that we're gonna be getting supposedly in 2026? But yeah, peace.